Hello everybody, this is Dana with the Freedom Please channel and essenceofme.com. I'm coming to you all today with a Yarncrafters video. And today is, I guess I'm going to probably title this a knitting book haul, probably, because all of them, I had to think about it. All of the books that I have to show you all today are books that are for knitting. And I'm going to talk a little bit, well, I'm going to show you each of the books that I got and kind of talk about why I purchased them. I'm going to talk about how I was able to purchase them and get a really great deal. I'm also going to talk a little bit about why I'm starting to do more paid patterns versus free patterns. And so I hope I kind of remember that list. So if you want to hear more about it, see the books that I purchased for my book haul. Also to know more about why I'm doing more paid patterns versus the free patterns. Stick around. Jump in. I wanted to do the introduction to kind of keep this all together. It also helps me to see what I'm doing. I hope you all are well. And so let's jump right in. I'm going to actually go out of order from what I said in the beginning. I was able to get a really great deal on these books. And where I went was like, no, it's not no secret, but I purchased $128 plus, well, might as well say $130 worth of books for only $33. So basically I had a 67% savings, and so I paid about 30% or so, 33% of the value of these books. And where did I go? I went to, oh, can you see it? Half price books. I have always been a fan of half price books. I mean, as a college student, that's where I took all my books if they didn't take them back at the library or at the bookstore. I also like to go there just to peruse. It has now become one of the places that I really love to go to for crafting books. The one that is closest to my house, they have a nice size section, but there's not a lot. I guess it's a nice size section, but there's not a lot of variety, but they usually have multiple copies of the books that they do have. Okay, so today I went there for a particular reason. As you all know, I've been knitting for a little while now, and one of the things that I've been yearning for and looking for, but not wanting to break the bank in order to purchase, is a really, really good basic knitting book. I learned how to knit by using a DVD, and I've learned to read patterns and everything, kind of just working on things on my own, and also YouTube, of course, and I've also taken classes. But I wanted to have a really good basic knitting book for my crafting library, and so I'm going to show you what I found. I found this Vogue knitting. It's the ultimate knitting book. The normal price of this book is $38.95, and I paid $19.48 for it. It is a hardback book, which I love, and I like it this particularly on this one because you can actually lay the book out. I prefer the way that they are binding books now, where it's a spiral bound, and I think I have one book that's that way because when you're actually working, you can lay the book out. But anyway, so this book is going to hopefully fill that. I kind of went in and found it, and it has everything from the beginning things of knitting. It has some stitches. Really, I'm gonna hold it up because sometimes when I go on Amazon to find books, I really want to see what the pictures look like on the inside. So I'm going to show you some. There is a great glossary. There is a great symbols chart. I'm going to show you the symbols chart. I love the symbols chart. There is, here are some of the assembly. Here's some stitches. They have them both charted as well as written. I also really liked, they have the like assembling area. They also have a great section on doing crochet edges. This is when you're being able to do both knitting and crocheting come in handy. And there was another section, oh, beading, embroidery, of course. And they also have, again, I have not used to this degree when it comes to knitting, but what they have in here are also like these little charts. And again, I have not read this yet, and I don't want to keep showing you the top of my head, but they have different charts that you can use when constructing your own pieces, so that you can fill in what the measurements are, etc. One of the reasons why I wanted to have a really great basic knitting book is because I've crocheted for longer than I've knitted. And with crochet, I find that my instinct and my ability to adapt, whether it's a pattern or adapt the piece to what I see in my head, is so much easier for me than it is with knitting. But that comes with time, of course. But I wanted to have a basic book so that had really good pictures, so that when I visualize something, I would have some sources to go to look for a picture that's close to what I see in my head. And then what I can do is kind of read through the way that, the way that they did the sequencing of stitches, or the repeats, or the number of rows, etc. And then I then do a graft or a chart for myself, and then execute it. I found that because my instincts are still growing in knitting, that I really have gravitated towards the grafting aspect of knitted patterns, which I really like. It reminds me of doing the grafted crochet patterns. So I think I feel a little more comfortable with that. But with that said, I also purchased this book. It's called The Knitting Stitch Bible. The normal price of this is $29.95. I purchased it for $6.49. It says over 250 traditional and contemporary stitches with easy to follow charts. Now, what I just fell in love with on this, now of course all of them can look like this, I guess, but this is what made me want to purchase the book. Having this little directory and just having the pictures, and they have it separated by the type of technique. And then once you find the image or whatever that you want to create, you go to that page. And once you go to the page, I'm going to go to one. You have the full charted. Here's one for lace. You have the full chart. So this book covers, it has knit one, purl one, rib, cable, bobble, lace, sterile, intarsia. I don't know why I get tongue tied with that. Intarsia. And then they also have sequins and beads. Another reason why I really wanted this book, much like the other book I just showed you, is they have a very detailed chart for symbols. And this is going to have a lot to do with when I share with why I've been using quite a few more paid patterns than free patterns. But it has a very, they have a small section on abbreviations, but the symbols chart goes on for quite a few pages. It's about 10 pages, I guess. This is one of the books that I was talking about that has the spiral bound. You can see it there. And so when you're working with this book, you can lay it out, which is really cool. And so this book is a really great book. I also purchased this book, which is Wraps. I guess I should take this off. Let me see. A Wrap Style. It says innovative. Oh wait, Wrap Style. And the subtitle is Innovative to Traditional, 24 Inspirational Shawls, Ponchos, and Capelets to Knit and Crochet. Now this particular book, oh, let me give you the price. The price is $21.95 retail, and I bought it for $4.99. This book I actually checked out from my library and had it for as long as I could keep it. And the reason why I like this book, there's some, the patterns are just okay for me, and the reason why I say that is because they are extremely advanced. But I'm going to show you one of the patterns that I fell in love with. There's a couple of them in here. I'm hoping I can find it. Oh, here it is. Look at this one. I am I'm gonna make that. I gotta make it before the winter. That is just so beautiful to me. There is another one. Oh, it's back here. But this is actually not the reason why I purchased it. I would have totally just said, "Oh, those are nice," and not bought this book. Um, if it was just strictly based on this. Okay, here's the other. Look at this. How beautiful is that? I love that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay. Besides the fact all of those cables, we're not gonna talk about that. Okay. But the reason why I wanted to purchase this book is because they have a section in here which I've been using for some other projects, which is why I kept my book from the library for so long. It is called, where is it? Oh, here it is. It's called Design Notebook. And in the Design Notebook, I really liked, they have different shapes and ways that you can attach and structure different various pieces, and they explain of how and the type of techniques that you can use in order to achieve those types of looks. They also give some sort, I know that there's no standard size for any one piece, but it does give you a good idea when you're working off the top of your head of, just about how big or how long should this piece be. And they give measurements in inches as well as centimeters, about, how to do it. What else? And for this one, and this was another area, and it's really basic, and I don't even know if I'll ever have a chance to use it, but they have these different styles of collars, which I love. And I don't wear them a lot, but I love turtlenecks. I love turtlenecks. I don't really wear them much. I used to, but it'd be pretty cool to make my own. So with that said, here is this book. The fact that it was $4.99 was a very big selling point. The design notebook was a selling point, and the fact that I'd already spent a lot of time in the book was great. And the fact that now it is my own book, so if I want to add notes and stuff, but this book was so good to me that I was able to sketch some ideas after reading through some of the sections in this book. But now that I have the book and will be able to have it for an infinite amount of time, I will be able to, especially those two patterns that I really like. And there's others in here that I want to look at for construction purposes, but those two are ones that I will follow the patterns, fully in order to create those looks. Okay, I have two more books to go. I'll say this one last. Okay, this book, and it is knitting. Is it brochet stitch socks? 14 easy patterns for tube socks. I have not. Oh, price. $12.99 retail. I bought it for $3.99. I have not been quiet as far as my aspirations of really wanting to learn how to make socks. Have not done it. But what I want, okay, I've had some like sock patterns that I found here or there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole paid versus free patterns. Will kind of go towards the sock issue. But I wanted to just have some pretty easy socks. The one thing that I read about on here, and it really doesn't mean much to me now, which is said no heels, no hassles. And seeing videos with the heels always seems so complicated to me. And not complicated in a way that I didn't feel like I could do it, but in a way that it would take a lot of concentration in order to do it. And so to me, that means time that I would need to set aside and really kind of focus in. And so since I have not been able to carve out that time, that's why I haven't really decided to kind of jump in. So I got this mainly because I wanted to do that, but also because it was $3.99 for 14 patterns. So the last book, this book I have been eyeing on Amazon, had it in my cart to purchase, and I knew I was going to have price books, so I decided not to buy it, and then went and found it for, I'll tell you the price. It's called Nature's Contemporary Knitted Shawls Rapture. The retail price is $24.99. I bought it for $4.99. Now, you know what? I didn't do, oh no, I did show. I'm going to show you one of the patterns in here that I saw a glimpse of it. Did they show? This book actually had a very, very poor representation of the look inside in Amazon, but I saw this one pattern when I did the look inside, and it was enough to make me want this book. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? And it's it's basic, but then it has a touch, and that's something that is always important to me. I like very straightforward things with a little bit of touch. It kind of just gives it a little edge or a little difference. And so there were many others in here that I like. That one was number one. Another one is this piece, and these are all knitted. Um, there are others that actually, there's quite a few in here where I've made crochet versions of these, you know, not knowing, but seeing them in here in the knitted version really makes it really interesting. And this is another one that I really like in here. So all in all, again, these books were worth $128.83, and I spent $43.24, which is not bad. So, in this very long Yarncrafters chat, why I've been using more paid patterns versus free patterns. Number one, when I'm doing paid patterns, I'm doing more paid patterns that are in books, not standalone patterns. I mean, I do buy them, but I'm finding that I don't really care for them as much, especially when it comes to knitting. And the reason why is because I feel like when you purchase just one pattern, sometimes it's almost like you're jumping into a story that's already underway. It's like, how do I trying to figure out some better words to say, but that's the way I feel, especially because with some of the more complicated patterns, I am still getting the hang of it. So if they, even though they give you the abbreviations, having the ability to whether look at how they constructed some other pieces, or having access to the glossary of terms, or having access to other resources that will come packaged in a book, makes it so that I don't waste time trying to fill in the gaps. It's better for me to just pay, let's say, that $4.99, and save hours of time of searching online, or not hours, you know, but you sometimes you do. You search and you search in order to fill in that hole of information, when I can just purchase the book and flip to the front or flip to the back and have the information that I need. Another thing that I find when I have free patterns that don't have maybe the additional information that you would like in order to finish or create the piece, is that you can use things which are so wonderful like YouTube, but it can be a bottomless pit. You know, you can spend hours doing that, which is fun if you just want to watch the videos. But if you really want to spend some time getting better by doing things, you don't want to spend hours watching it. You want to spend hours doing it. And so what I'm able then to do is, instead of pushing play, pausing, or whatever on the video, I'm able to look at the book, lay open the book, turn on my audio book, and just go for it. You know, have my app in order to track my rows and my repeats, etc., and then just, you know, have a good time of actually crafting. So with all of that said, I think I said it. I've covered everything that I said in the opening. The place that I went to again was Half Price Books. You of course can go to their website and put in your zip code and see if you have a location near you. I do believe they have the ability to purchase online. I've never tried. I think the joy of going to half price books is probably much like people that like to thrift shop. It's the ability to walk around and find things that you may not know about. So I like to just go get a cup of coffee and then go and spend usually at least an hour or so in there. Another thing that they do offer is if you are looking for a particular book, you can call the location near you and they can even have the book brought in from other locations, which is helpful as well. I think honestly that they charge a fee for that though. Check and see. I mean, if it's something you want to do. But each of these books were actually way cheaper than if I would have purchased them even on Amazon. And as well as the fact that I did not have to pay for shipping and I got them immediately and I was able to look inside and look at the not just the graphics but the written patterns to see if it's something that, yes, I want to be challenged, but I don't want to be stumped, you know. This particular one, I love the fact that they have both the written patterns as well as the charted patterns. I'm going to show you this real quick. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this one is called Dragonfly as an example. And you'll see here some of the written patterns. And then over here, you'll see the charted pattern. And then the detailed chart. Oh, no, that wasn't the chart. I'm sorry. I apologize. Here's the chart. The chart. And so in the end, in closing, the reason why with building up my library of books for knitting, that I wanted to do it is to have these things on hand, and also because it really fills in a gap, that knowledge gap, in that as you start to visualize and see, or you want to make changes to pieces, or you want to make your piece unique, you may want to use the same basic structure or pattern, but you may want to make a change so that each one that you may be selling in your store is different. Well, a book like this is going to be worth its weight in gold, because what you would then do is you would go through and say, okay, yes, this piece has lace, but let me do this form of lace. You pick this one for one piece, this one, and you don't have to, but I mean, that's all part of the fun. Okay? So, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I look forward to interacting with you all in the comment section. If you have any suggested topics for the Yarncrafters chat, let me know. As it is now, and I kind of just talk about whatever I'm working through and kind of experimenting with. I kind of am thinking about maybe in the future doing a Yarncrafters chat on yarn and yarn types, because that's been one of those things where I've been doing a lot of research on, because in the past I've kind of stuck to the ones that I like, and with these new patterns it's having me to explore different types and understanding the different textures and the different uses for those yarns, and then and then pairing it with the appropriate needles, sizes, type of needle, and so on and so forth. So this is just a lot of fun, and it makes for some great crafting. So again, I will talk with you all hopefully sooner than later. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them in the comment section. And you can also visit me online at essenceofme.com. Talk with you all soon. Take care and goodbye.